Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs in year one? Is it possible? We're going to talk about it here today on Between Years. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. It's Skylar Callan here with another episode of Between the Ears. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button here on our YouTube page at West Virginia on SI. If you're watching this on our website, go over to the YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you know the second that a new episode drops. And speaking of new episodes, here's a schedule for you for this upcoming season. Every Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll have a new show of Between Years. Every Sunday will be my morning afterthoughts. It'll drop bright and early every morning following the night of a game, kind of going more into detail about what happened that night. And Thursdays, we'll have the Walkthrough Game Day show with former Mountaineer running back Eugene Napoleon, helping me break down that week's game. And, of course, he'll also join me for the Mountaineer post game following every West Virginia game. So let's talk about it. Expectations for 2025. It's been something I've kind of put on the back burner. I wanted to really kind of wait until we got through a couple of weeks of camp, get to the middle part of August, and here we are. We're in week 3 of fall camp. It's about the middle of August, so I felt like now would be a good time to start talking about what expectations should be. I'm not going to get into my wins and loss predictions just yet. That'll probably come next week. So be on the lookout for that episode and that article. But the one or two questions, and they're very similar, that I keep getting in my mailbag, really going, all the way back to the moment Rich Rodriguez was hired, is can West Virginia have an Arizona State-sized leap or an Indiana-sized leap? Basically, can they come out of nowhere, shock everybody, and make the college football playoff? That's kind of what it all boils down to. As I've stated before, I don't want to rule anything out. And in years where I know the tendencies of the coaching staff, I know the tendencies of the players, I know kind of what to expect, I would have more of a firm decision on this or a firm opinion. This year, there's just so much uncertainty. There's no way that I can rule anything out. There's no way that I can say they're definitely going to do it because you have 70-plus new players. You have a whole new coaching staff. You don't know what you're going to get. We don't, and that's the beauty of it. We don't know what the ceiling of this team is. We don't know what the floor of this team is. It's a good thing, and it could also be a scary thing. But every legitimate scenario is possible. They could be an Indiana or an Arizona State. They could also be what Arizona State was 2 years ago in their first year under Kenny Dillingham and go 3-9. That's possible too. Is it likely? Probably not. But here's where I come on this is I think the Indiana thing, it's not really a fair comparison. You look at what their schedule was a year ago, it was Cupcake City, man. I mean, they strolled into every single week knowing that they were going to, beat the living breaks off of people. And the 2 times that they actually played somebody with a pulse, they got pounded. They were just rolling along until Ohio State came in. And obviously we saw what happened there. They got beat badly. And then they kind of got back on a roll again. And then boom, Notre Dame hits them in the college football playoffs. So to me, I can't put that Indiana comparison on this team just really solely because of the schedule. It has nothing to do with can they surprise everybody, win 11 games, and make the playoff. It's more of the schedule just doesn't compare whatsoever. I mean, just the non-conference schedule alone is more difficult than what Indiana had. I mean, we're talking about going on the road to Ohio. Indiana didn't do anything like that. They didn't play a group of 5 team that was even worthy of being considered as a possible upset situation. This is certainly one. You're also looking ahead at the backyard brawl. You have that factor into it, but you just remove that from the equation. Just look at the game as itself. Ohio's a good football team, new coaching staff, but they're a scrappy bunch. They beat Jack State in the bowl game last year. That was without Rich Rod, of course, but still, it's a good team. They got their quarterback back, Parker Navarro. They've got playmakers. And that's a team that's going to be excited to go out and try and prove a point in week two. So you have that. You have the backyard brawl. You have two ranked teams already on your schedule in Arizona State and Texas Tech. There's a possibility that three others are going to be ranked by the time you play them: Utah, TCU, BYU. I don't know that Kansas is going to be able to do enough by the time that they meet the Jayhawks in game four. But at some point, Kansas, if they play well, they could sneak into the top 25. Probably, like I said, probably not going to happen by the time they play West Virginia, but still, you're playing top 25 caliber teams. Indiana did not do that at all, except for Ohio State. So to me, that's why I think the Indiana comparison is just a little bit unfair. It's not parallel. It just there's not enough similarities. Arizona State, however, that's a little different story because I feel like year one there with Kenny Dillingham is maybe not going to be strikingly similar to what year one will be like here with Rich Rod, but there's going to be some ups and downs. I think there'll be more positives that come out of this year than what they experienced in year one, but there's going to be some bumps in the road. Let's just be flat out real here. It's not going to be all sunshines and rainbows in 2025. When you have that many new guys and you have this schedule, that's the difference between what Kurt Signetti was able to do in year one and what pretty much everybody else has to go through in year one. He had the easy schedule, and that's how they're scheduling from here on out. And we can have that debate if we want, but that's a whole different story. With this group, it's to me, it's about playing competitive football. I don't even think you need to slap a win total on there. If they go 3-9, obviously not ideal, but what do you look like in those nine losses if they were to lose nine games? What if they go 4-8, 5-7, 6-6, right? Average to below average football. If that's where they're at, that only tells half the story. What do they look like in those losses? Who do they beat? Are one of those five or six or four wins come against a top 25 team? Do they finish the year strong? Is it they win three of their last four to go 6-6 or 5-7? What does it look like? That's why Ren Baker, he's always been very consistent about I'm never going to judge a coach's performance strictly on wins and losses because there's more to it than just that. It's how do you get there? Where is the program heading? Now, historically speaking, Rich Rod's teams, everywhere he's been, have improved throughout the season. His teams have been much better in November than they were in September. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons of many why Neil Brown is no longer here because his teams never improved throughout the season. By the time you get to November, you should look completely different from what you did in week one. And way too often, there were the same mistakes, the same missed assignments, the same guys making the same mistakes, mental errors, game management errors by Neil, by the coaching staff, failing to make adjustments. And we were seeing those things still happen in November. That's not going to happen under the staff. If they get out to a slow start and they go, say, 2-1 in non-conference, and they lose two of their first three in the Big 12, I don't think it's time to panic. They're going to get better, and by the time they reach those two top 25 opponents, preseason that is, in Arizona State and Texas Tech, I think they're going to be okay. Like I don't know that they're going to win both of them or either of them, but they're going to be competitive. Previously, that wasn't going to happen. You knew what was going to happen in that under that previous regime. So I think it's about how you get to your record, what you're looking like, and then launching into what should be higher expectations in 2026. This is a two-step process to beat Arizona State. Everyone looks at Arizona State and says, "Oh, well, they just did it in 1 year. They were a one-year wonder, and they found all the magic recipes in one off season, and boom, they exploded into a college football playoff team." That's not it. That they didn't see the pains and the deep lows that team went through in 2024, or excuse me, 2023, when they went 3-9. It was a two-step process. Lay the foundation, understand who your playmakers are, find some positives to build around, retool the roster, go find some pieces that are going to help you, and start to play high-level football in year two. Obviously, 5, 10 years ago, that was never the rebuilding type of timeline, because you needed 3, 4, some instances 5 recruiting classes to really get going. With the transfer portal, that's not the case. You can go find your guys. It's a lot faster. So year two is where I think they could make that Arizona State sized leap. But you have to show that you're capable of doing that. Arizona State maybe didn't show that in 3-9. So that's why it was probably a bigger surprise to everybody. But if you go 5-7, you go 6-6, you go 7-5, and you show some signs of optimism and signs that you're trending towards being a player in the Big 12, then the hype will be there. The expectations will be there. But I think where a lot of folks go wrong, and I'm not here to tell you how to feel or to temper your expectations, because, like I said, nobody knows what's going to happen this fall. Nobody knows what the caliber of this team is. But I think it's safer to go into this year filled with excitement, filled with optimism, but understanding too that if you don't get to 8, 9, 10 wins, it's not the end of the world, right? It's about changing the culture, changing the trajectory of the program, and to do that, you have to have a year under your belt. You can't just put 70 guys in a group together that come from all whichever different angles and coaching backgrounds in one off season over a couple of months or a few months in one fall camp and say, "Yep, we are exactly where we want to be." That's just not reality. It's going to take some time. So I'm also here too to tell you that, like, I'm not just. I probably kind of sound like I'm coming off as if there's no chance in hell that they're going to make the playoff. Mathematically speaking, and when you look at what everybody else has coming back in the Big 12, and you look at what other people have, whether it's you know Pitt or Ohio, and I don't really want to talk about Robert Morris, but you look at what other teams have coming back, and it's hard to say with so many uncertainties that getting to the playoff is possible. It's not impossible, but they just need to show that they've got the right pieces in place, that they've got the right mentality, and I think that should be the bar for year one. Don't slap a win total on it. You're going to disappoint yourself more often than not. How they play the game, the way they play the game, to me is what's more important this year. Playoffs, playoffs. It's possible. It's possible, but we'll see. Long ways to go. Got a lot of boxes to check, a lot of things to figure out. I mean, shoot, folks, we're in week 3 of fall camp, and it's still 5-man quarterback battle. It's still a 5-man quarterback battle. So it's going to have to dwindle down soon. We'll talk about it more in the coming days, obviously on the website side. But that's going to do it for me here today on Between the Years. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button here on our page at West Virginia on SI. We'll be off until Sunday here on the show, but I encourage you, go check out our website, West Virginia on SI. It's in the link in the description below. We've got 8, 9, 10 articles going up every single day. most in-depth stuff. We'll probably come on, the weekends after the scrimmages and whatnot, but we have a lot of stuff going up, more than anybody out there, and we get it out early every single day. So if you want a nice breakfast-sized, West Virginia content for you first thing bright and early in the morning, we're going to have that for you every single day, 7 days a week. So go check out the website and see what's going on with the football team, basketball as well. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll be back here on Sunday. Take care.